So just in the last hour, the White House announced brand new sanctions against Russia in response to the crisis in Ukraine. It targets several individuals close to Vladimir Putin, including freezing assets and banning U.S. visas for 7 Russian officials and targeting 17 companies. Florida Congresswoman Lois Frankel was part of a bipartisan congressional delegation just back from Ukraine. Congresswoman, thanks for being with us. First thing I want to ask you is, President Obama has imposed economic sanctions before, so is this just more of the same, or is Putin getting the message?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me today. It was an honor to travel with this bipartisan delegation. And I think first we have to remember that this is a situation that was not born overnight, will not be held overnight. I think our president is taking a cautious approach, warranted, because our European allies are trade partners with Russia. They depend on Russia's energy. And so we have to be careful, because sanctions against Russia also have the good probability of hurting our allies.
That's a good point. And you were just in Ukraine, so how do you gauge the situation there on the ground?
Well, what we saw, we were both in Kyiv, the western part of Ukraine. We were also in the eastern part of Ukraine. And, you know, quite frankly, it was quiet, mostly quiet with what we saw on the ground. We were there to observe, share ideas, and I think what is important, we try to convey to the leaders, and we met with most of the high-ranking leaders in Ukraine, also the candidates for their new government, is that they also have to take responsibility. There's been a tremendous amount of corruption in that government for so many years, which has disenchanted their citizens, and which really has undermined their ability to stand up to Russia. So we talked about how they could go forward, have fair and free elections, which we think is a very, very important point here. And of course, we will see that Russia will be trying to interfere with that election process.
Well, as we see this geopolitical chess game play out, I know a lot of people are probably saying to themselves, we've seen this diplomatic route before during the past couple of months, with Secretary of State John Kerry meeting with his Russian counterpart, Foreign Minister Lavrov. And today we have yet another round of sanctions. So I want you to help us put this into perspective. Can the U.S. achieve a diplomatic resolution with Russia? And how do you see that being played out in light of these new sanctions?
Well, I think what's important I think people are asking themselves the question is, you know, why are we even trying? Why is this important? Keep in mind that about almost 20 years ago, Ukraine gave up one of the largest nuclear arsenals in the world in exchange for the United States, Great Britain, and Russia giving assurance that they would not interfere with Ukraine's sovereignty. Obviously, we've seen Russia ignoring that, and so it's very important to us that we all live up to that agreement, especially in light of the fact that there are other countries we are having discussions about disarming. So with that said, as I mentioned before, you know, we cannot just be the world's policeman, and what we do affects our allies. And so I think this gradual putting on sanctions is the appropriate approach. We can see already in Russia their currency is going down, their stock market is going down, and I think we have to recognize that, and that it's important that we stop this Russian aggression, but I think the president is taking the right steps here.
All right, Congresswoman Lois Frankel, thank you.